Alright, so my project was a better Blackboard calendar. So my inspiration and objective for this project. My inspiration was that as the majority of work moved online, due to COVID, obviously, myself and some others I saw working online had issues sort of organizing the work as effectively due to some of the limitations of the Blackboard calendar. So whereas before you would have been able to do work with paper, you would have been able to put it in a folder or a binder or wherever else. This is no longer possible, and the limitation became the Blackboard calendar, which is can be a little bit shady at times. I know some students had experiences with their calendars entirely not working, all this sort of stuff, and it just wasn't really convenient. So my objective was to give students the ability to use a Trello board to track assignments and other tasks. I hope this would be a better platform, so I chose it. As I said, I thought it'd be a better platform. I found its organizational flexibility superior to Blackboard. I started using it myself to track my own online assignments, as it gave me the ability to sort of move assignments from to do to doing done. Just it was all around just a little better towards organizing all the assignments that you were doing and sort of keeping it all on track. And I just thought it was a very convenient way of organizing your assignments, especially considering everything was online now, and a planner didn't really work the same. It just was not as convenient as before. Alright, so what would it require? Trello and Blackboard both use REST APIs to transfer data from their databases to the client's interface. So they sort of serve as a bridge between a request that a programmer makes and the information that a programmer requests. So I mean, obviously this is not special though. Most big companies like Google, Twitter, Facebook, all use REST APIs for this purpose. So what exactly is a REST API? So an API is just an interface through which you can program an application to do something you want. REST means that when you request something through an API, you'll get the response back that you requested. Through this use is what makes my project possible. If I could grab calendar data from the Blackboard API, then I should be able to request through Trello's API that the data from the Blackboard calendar be formatted in a way that Trello can understand, and then uploaded to a Trello board, making it easier to see. So I can make a system from these two, sort of what I'd want for my objective. I laid out here sort of what an example of what a Blackboard calendar would look like. This will make sense later. So this is a little bit blurry, but as you can see, this is what a Blackboard calendar sort of looks like. This is just, I have no idea which month. I just pulled from my calendar. And this is what a Trello board would look like. So as you can see, it's a little bit, in my opinion, neater. You can see what you're doing, or you have to do, what you're doing, what you have done, just organized in this manner. So the idea would be that you'd be able to pull assignments from the Blackboard calendar, right? So I'm just gonna write some just very, very pseudocode here, just an idea. So say we have an assignment on Wednesday, right? We'll say we're just requesting to get an assignment from the class, so let's do like assignments. We'll say from course, right? Sorry, assignments from course, right? And we'll just make it AP comp sci A, which is all of this stuff you can see on the side there. So we get an output here, something like, just from Blackboard, through the API assignment equal, this is like the code assignment, which is the assignment I have for comp sci. And if you do, you get a result like, let's say just like May 12th, if that makes sense, at sort of 8 a.m. It's a random date. And then we'd be able to take this, so to imagine this is just what you're getting from like this Wednesday assignment, and it comes back to Trello, right? You'd be able to reformat it. Title equals code assignment here, which would be the title on the Trello board. You see this, and you'd iterate due date as well. So you have due equals May 12th, 8 a.m. And it would I could reformat this to 8 a.m. and this would sort of pop on the Trello board. It would be more convenient as you can sort of see like when you're coming up to something, and just a cool concept overall. So that's sort of like the general idea of what's going on here. So what happened to the project? So lack of knowledge and poor timing. So I had to learn a lot about APIs before getting started on this project. I knew a good amount of Python and a little bit of Java, so I was very confident I could use one of those languages well enough to be able to code this project. But first, I sort of had to understand APIs, so I spent a lot of time worrying about what I needed to learn had a lot of time thinking I hadn't learned enough. The idea that the task ahead was daunting, and even though I was fairly confident in my ability to complete this project, it's kind of daunting. So after spending my time on this, I met with the issues of this project. So, which was lack of functionality and availability. So this image right here is just examples of commands to call items from the Blackboard calendar for specific courses, given time frame, at specific hours, I believe, or maybe not, just office hours. But so you can see it all looks relatively simple. However, it was also an issue of accessibility. Blackboard required two things for you to be able to use their API. One was a developer account with a certification from them, and two, a certification from from the administrator over the account being used, administrator over the account that you had being used, to be able to access the data within the API. I was able to create a developer account, but never able to receive the proper certification to request what I wanted out of the calendar from Blackboard. Alright, so most critically, what did I learn? So the first thing I learned is that effort does not mean success. This is kind of a first time for me, but effort still does mean something. You further yourself as a person, you gain a new skill, you did something. Effort can absolutely not come out the other end as failure unless you take it as such. I still learned quite a bit about the functionality of APIs, their uses, and where I could actually find access to them. I learned a ton of new code, but I did learn that there's nothing particularly special that puts an API far out of reach from you if you do know a little bit of a language. And I think most importantly, I learned a lot about some most tangible concepts. So the second one, sometimes you'll be told no. That's alright. I learned sometimes as a result of this it may be necessary to move on, pick up the pieces that you can, and regain. You don't get told yes by asking no questions, and not every answer will be a yes, as obvious as that sounds. Sometimes you have to show you want it, and sometimes you have to accept that you can't have it. Alright, so the third one, time management. The entire point of this project, and well, clearly it's something I've got to work on. If I had known earlier I would be told no, it would have made transitioning to something else a lot easier. And a big part of that is actually understanding what is possible in a project or in your own world. This falls under time management a little, as you can determine something might not be worth your time if you can determine it isn't possible to do. I also spent too much time worrying what I knew, when in reality I would have been just fine. Alright, so the last thing. It is not easy to pick yourself up from something that disappointed you, but it's not the end of the world. That's certainly a rough one for me personally, but as I was told, school is for learning. Mistakes matter a lot less here, and even matter a lot less in college than in the workforce, when real people are affected by your mistakes and by your brain power. That isn't to say we won't stop making mistakes. We certainly never stop making mistakes, but you'll learn not to make the same ones, to fall a little more gracefully when you do, and how to admit that you have. That can take a lot, but man, it is important. Alright, I guess the last thing I would say, which is not on the slide, it may take up a little bit more time, is you remember the one lesson that your teacher taught you from a class, right? The one life lesson, a particular skill you learned, or an enjoyable moment. You don't remember your feeling great, or on the one quiz in class, or even the 100%. You remember the nights staying up late studying after wasting your time and getting a lackluster score. Of course, that doesn't stop some of us from doing it each and every test, but I think that's an important lesson nonetheless. School is for learning, making mistakes. Grades aren't nearly as important as you might think. Alright, that's it. That's all I have.